Hello, love bugs, and welcome back or welcome to your new favorite show, Dear Ex, One Last Thing. Some exes don't just break our hearts, they change our lives, shake up our friend groups, transform our futures. For better or for worse, they change us into different people and make us unable to go back to the version that we once were before we met them. They say for the people like that, the best revenge is to be quiet, get better, move on. But I'm somebody who made a podcast because of the ending of their last relationship, and I've never been better. So who are they to say? Today's relationship is one of those relationships that feel once in a lifetime. It's the kind where you think, I'm going to spend the rest of my life with this person, and then all of a sudden, you can't imagine how you guys can make it work. Today's story is one for yearners, for deep feelers, the ones who leave claw marks in everything that they try and leave behind, for the people who only know how to love when they lose themselves in it, the ones who never really fall out of love, they just stop talking to the person, for the ones who know that everything is poetic and tragic, the ones that are always nostalgic. Off the bat, I do want to say today's episode has some trigger warnings for drugs, heroin specifically, homelessness, and domestic violence. It is indeed a heavy episode and probably the most human one I've done so far. So I, of course, want to give all listeners a time to check in with their body, their mind, and see if this is the episode that fits your needs and wants the best at the moment, or if there's another episode that might serve you better. This episode, of course, will be there to come back to. This next message is for the sender herself. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for your vulnerability. Thank you for allowing me to share this part of your life on this podcast. Thank you for allowing me to be able to voice your story in some way. I feel incredibly honored. I want to do your story the most justice that I can while still respecting your boundaries and your privacy. And I did note that there were some parts of the story that were just for my eyes only, and that is so appreciated. However, I did have some confusion separating what was for the public and what was for my own knowledge. And I'm going to try and keep everything within the margins of what you felt comfortable sharing with the world. And please know if I overstep in any way, it's not intentional at all. I have the utmost respect for your privacy. So I just wanted to send that message out there and know that I am taking your story very seriously and your wishes just as serious. Our sender is currently 25, and she's sending a letter to her ex-girlfriend from 3 years ago. She notes that the relationship was 2.5 years, on and off towards the end, since they were still sleeping together for about 6 months after the breakup, non-exclusively. She met her ex-girlfriend in rehab when she was getting clean from heroin. Our sender writes, I journaled about her the first time I ever laid eyes on her. It was the one and only time I've ever met someone and been unable to take my eyes off of them and then gone home and written about it. I was infatuated by her mysteriousness. She sat across the room from me during a meeting that I came in late for, and I kept watching her. We would exchange eye contact, and I thought she was beautiful and aloof. She came up to me afterwards, and I took her home. I remember the first time I heard this part of the story, and I immediately wanted to just go and give the sender a hug, because I already could see so much of myself, or at least who I used to be in the sender, even though she's now older than me. I used to have this quality about myself, and I thought I'd never lose it because I had kept it through so many difficult relationships, and I had kept it through so many times of getting jaded, but somewhere along the way it kind of faded, and maybe it's still in me somewhere, but I used to just have this quality about myself where everything was so deep, and people were like films, and I saw them in this beautiful and dramatic light, and everything and everyone I loved was something I romanticized, but I did it unknowingly. And nothing is black and white, and everything has a story behind it, and everything is deeper than what it looks like on the surface. And I really related to just so quickly being infatuated by someone's beauty to the point where you had to get it on paper because it was just like taking up your mind so much and you wanted to have record of it. I don't know. If I could dig up some old journals and read them to you guys, I'm sure you'd understand what I mean. Our sender gives us some background. She says, "We got sober from hard drugs together. She helped me try and recover from a violent relationship." And anyone that's been in a violent relationship or knows anyone that's been in a violent relationship, you know that that person or yourself, after getting out of the relationship, it's like you're so raw and unsure of other people and kind of unsure of yourself. And you're battling trying to react to things the right way and trying to trust people again. And you know how difficult it is to trust someone, how difficult it is to get comfortable, to be vulnerable again, to not get triggered into fight or flight, and to see them as a different person than who your ex was, and to truly get to a fresh slate. And you also know that if you get to that point with somebody, you feel like that's your person. And you also feel like you can't lose them because the thought of trying to do that all over again feels impossible. Anyways, she continues to write on. "We moved in together and had that classic, beautiful first love experience together. Road trips, middle of the night adventures, casinos, diners, walking into the sea together, making dinner for each other, slow dancing in the sun, etc. And then I got really ill as I started to process my trauma, and I almost died. I think my friends always had warned me about her, but I didn't understand that my ex had always been aloof with everyone but me, and it'd be a matter of time before I would understand the pain of that if she didn't work on it." At this time, her ex's energy really started to change towards her. When she says, "I almost died," she was sick in a hospital, and her ex was rarely visiting her, showing her support. And then out of nowhere, she tries to make our sender homeless by ending like their lease together. While the sender really had no say so, or I'm not sure if the sender even had true knowledge of it. And then a couple months ago, or a couple months later, maybe, she ends up moving out, leaving the sender to deal with everything. And at that time, she wasn't in the financial or obviously physical or mental state to be able to take on all of that responsibility and financial burden. Our sender continues to say, "I blame myself for her change. I think having a partner who was hurting so much must have really depressed her, but I can't imagine ever treating anyone the way that she's treated me for longer than she hasn't now. When we first met, it's like we had that first love experience, even though it wasn't my first time. We went on road trips, went on adventures in the middle of the night, and just followed our feet around the world, making these beautiful, exciting, fun memories. We were inseparable. She was always cooking me these beautiful meals and texting me every day with practically these professions of undying love. I feel like I took that time for granted. This was my fourth relationship. Truly, I could say with my hand on my heart that she was the one I wanted to settle down with, and no one has ever loved me or known me the way that she has. I've never gone back to an ex the way that we have. I'm so out of my depth, and I feel like I have no idea how this is going to end. Usually, I feel like if trauma has taught me anything, it's how to gauge endings, but with this, I have no clue." And I think this last part, this feeling that the sender talks about of kind of blaming themselves for their ex's change of behavior, I think that's kind of why she continued to be off and on with her ex. Even though she notes it really doesn't feel the same anymore, and she's kind of getting to terms with the fact it may and probably will never feel the same. She says, "I continue to see her, but I've started to realize that I haven't been myself at all for the last few years since we've been together. Every time I sleep with her, I feel like an anxious shell of a person again. But give it a week and I'm partying again, meeting loads of new people, traveling, and having lots of fun, like how I was when we first broke up earlier this year. And I realized I didn't have social anxiety, and my ex just made me feel small." And I think I can mention this part, but the sender says what kind of added to the confusion and the pain is that for her, this is her fourth relationship. However, this felt like the person she was going to be with forever. This is her ex's first relationship, though. So there's a lot of kind of confusion and re-damaging that the sender has to do every time she has to explain to her ex, like, it's not normal for us to keep hooking up. I kind of could understand what the sender means by her aloofness of like kind of just doing what she feels when she feels it, and our sender having to explain like, no, like that's not how breakups are supposed to go. It's not supposed to be like this. And then, the sender also mentioned the amazing connection she had emotionally and mentally, but also physically, which would be very hard if I've slept with so many more people and my ex hasn't really slept with anyone, but they're the one I want to keep going back to. They're the one I have the best connection with, the best, sense of pleasure with. That would just add a whole new layer of confusion and frustration for sure. But now for the most important part of each and every episode, our letter. Dear sweet thing, the last time we spoke on the phone, I think we finally realized that we would never understand each other again. You don't understand how I can be better now that we're not together and miss you and wish you back all at the same time. And I can't understand how you could be doing worse now that we're not together and tell me that you can't let yourself imagine a version of this where we worked it out. You do not dream, and I realize that now. You bore me with your reluctancy to lean into the unknown. You used to be a dreamer. You used to tell me I was the air in your lungs, every star in the sky, and that a second spent away from me would ache in your bones. Neither of us think we believe in love. Neither of us think we are capable of it or will find it again, but I have a secret. I am full of love, and you did not break me. Because I still love you, but now I think I love me more. For the first time in my entire life, I am not scared of walking away. I still pray every now and then, especially when you text me out of the blue like nothing bad ever happened, that the fact we live in different cities and we're different now, everything is different, and it looks like it hurts you more than it hurts me, will mean that you will one day look at all that hurt and you might change. You might come back the way that you loved me and wouldn't hurt a thing like me. She might come back, but I will not wait for you. I hope to fucking God that I won't hope for you to come alive again forever either. You were my bestest friend I ever had. I will miss you until my dying breath. You were the kindest friend, the most patient and loving person I had ever met, and it's a shame that you have died in this way. I am the last person who remembers you like this. I thank you for being the one to finally hurt me so much that everything I thought I knew about myself, everything about me that I was sick of holding on to, has finally shattered. And now I'm ready to let go. Finally, I am ready to stop running from my past. I hate that it was you that I didn't work out with. God, I wanted you to be the one so bad. Everything lined up perfectly, apart from when you started to twist the knife inside of me and wouldn't stop. You still haven't stopped. I will tell you things I do not tell anyone else. I will dream of you and call you about it the next day. I will remember you as my great friend, my sweet thing, and I will make sure to take care of our good memories and cherish you there. I will survive you and I will be better for it. I'm sorry that we hurt each other. I wish you'd let me tell you that in person. Forever yours. From this letter, it sounds like there's so much we don't know about this relationship, and it's not for us to know. It's for them to know. It's for them to hold in this place that's their own, in their memories, in this place that they could kind of always visit back to but have to move on from. And I don't know this sender, and I don't know what's happened in their life, but it sounds like they've been through so much. And I just want to tell them that I'm a firm believer of everything for a reason. Maybe it is something I just have to tell myself, but I am still a firm believer of everything for a reason. And the fact that life works in such mysterious and odd ways, and sometimes the most painful things bring us to the best versions of ourselves. And I hope that that's what this is for you. And I hope you stay strong, and I hope you continue to become this person who you just fall deeper and deeper love with. I hope you do find true happiness and true love. I hope you find a relationship with somebody that makes loving easy and with a person that is trustworthy and reliable. I hope your self-love continues and makes you into this person that is just like radiant and shining from within, and just this person you never thought you'd be able to become in this lifetime. Thank you again for sharing this part of your life with us. I'd love to hear an update from you in the future. Maybe a letter in the future to your past self, which would be your current self now, or not. And if not, that's okay too. But to the listeners, of course, I have to thank you as well. I'm always eternally grateful for you. Please continue to share these episodes with your friends. Please continue to write letters in. Without you, this podcast can literally not exist. Without your story, this show could literally not go on. So thank you for all your support. Please continue supporting. It means the absolute world to me. If you're interested in submitting a letter of your own, please visit either the podcast Instagram bio, the YouTube bio, or the link down below. It'll take you to my link tree. The very first link will be the anonymous Google form where you could send in a story of your own. Happy Thursday, and I love you all so, so much. As always, remember, don't text your ex. Text me instead. Until next time, love, Mia Rose.